Hello everyone, this is Cesar Santos. I'm having some technical difficulties. I never got used to the computer technological stuff, but I'm here trying to figure it out with you guys. So, do you guys hear me? How is everybody doing? Hello. I don't know why my video is on delay, but I see a lot of people joining in, saying hi, what's up everybody? Just give me a second here to look at, if you guys have any questions, write it down. Basically, I was working today in my backyard and I hear this silence for this time is really strange because this is rush hour. Normally there's a bunch of cars coming through and everybody's talking about the coronavirus and how everything is changing so fast, and of course I wanted to take a break from that and have a talk with artists and anyone who wants to hear something different, basically, and have a conversation, with a higher spirit, and see if we can stay home, be safe, and think about the art subjects of introspection. Wow, I see a bunch of you joining in. From Spain, hola, en español, puedo saludar. ¿Cómo están? That's so cool, guys. If you have any questions, feel free. I'll be kind of looking up and down here in the comments and talking to you about things that you want to hear about. Technical stuff. We can go from philosophical subjects to technical matters of the art. I guess a bunch of you are staying safe at home, like me. So let's do this. Let me ask my wife if everything is working on her end. Vale, are you watching this? Is this, you hear me well? Everything is good? All right, perfect. So a little update is that I've been working on my sketchbooks because I want to just explore that passion that I've had for sketchbooks since I was a little kid, and I always been studying art. I don't seem to stop wanting to learn the latest update or going to the museum and see what else I can feel from the inside and learn. So basically, I was creating art for a while, for such a long time, but now I recently decided to share some stuff, just like my DVD with the secrets of portrait painting and figure. I decided to just do a website, create a website where I can focus and share techniques that I have developed from my own kind of practice and share it with you, because I kind of underestimated how useful any information that I can give can be to you guys. Well, if you can lower the volume because I hear myself over there. So I think that one of the reasons why, and it's for me it's a big chunk of my time to be spent on that. So I wanted to do it right. I wanted to do it correctly. My wife and I learned how to deal with the cameras, the editing and everything, so I don't depend on outside sources that might be guiding me to what's more the way to do it. I just wanted to do it the way I want to do it, and that's the good thing about it. So basically, I just opened this new website, cesarsantos.com, and there is a very straightforward kind of store. I divided the videos. I kind of looked at my competition, I looked at my time, and I tried charging the least amount for the information that I'm giving, because honestly, in an hour of just live like this is not much information, because I'm here kind of thinking about stuff at the same time that I'm talking. But in the instructional videos, they have been edited. So I go and I talk about the stuff, I show the stuff, I paint. You can see the paint, the brush strokes, the colors being mixed on the palette. And in the meantime, then we can edit that and just get the perfect kind of more information and put it together in an hour. So some videos are maybe a few minutes short of an hour. Some videos go past the hour, go to hour 40 minutes, I think is my latest one. But I will be creating more and more videos as soon as I come up with different ideas, and I hear from people what people are hungry for, so they are actually useful. And anyways, so that's up new in my life. Also new in my life is that I've been getting ready to go across the states. So my wife and I decided to get a van, an RV, get it ready as a studio, so that I can change the routine and I can get out of my comfort zone here in the studio with control lighting and go explore the outdoors a little bit more and paint things on spot and think of things differently. Why do I paint portraiture? Why do I paint certain genres? All that I have to question. And I thought that going on the road across the states was going to be really useful for that, instead of staying here in the same echo chamber of the same paintings around me for a long time. Which, that's good too, because we're, people of routine. But at the same time, I needed a change. So that's new. The website is new. And part of the website too is that it could help me share with you as I go around, and I'm not like waiting for galleries to set up shows. I can be more independent and create a body of work that I can share with you guys and also with galleries. So I'm just thinking about that these days. But suddenly with this new disease spreading fast, things are changing. So I'm gonna just stay put for a little bit and see how that goes. Okay, let's see some cool questions here. A lot of you are saying hi, but don't be afraid, ask any questions. I'm gonna be rapping for an hour. Someone says if I can rap this video. I'm actually a really bad singer and bad musician. In Cuba, my parents put me into trying to get admitted into a music school, and I got rejected. So either my ear doesn't work for music or something, or they didn't see the hidden talent that I had. But the raps at the end of my videos is just a fun thing that I like to do. Again, those videos, I did them for 3 years and pretty much no return. I mean, a little bit of the money from the commercials and a little bit more popularity. But actually it's something I like to do because I studied theater, and for me to share stuff and act and entertain is something that I like doing. So I combine the introspection of creating art with the extras, with the outside of sharing it online. And the rap is a fun way to finish it, kind of saying, come on man, everything is fun, light, let's have fun for that. Definitely not showing off my rapping skills. So, question. Oh my god, I see cool questions here. Let me see. Wow. Someone's asking me how to draw beard in an easy way. Actually, this is funny because, I mean, obviously, but even hair, let's think about hair as something that you don't have to copy, you can represent, because there are things that you can measure and really look at how the solidity of it works in perspective, and you can draw it and copy it. But when something is kind of moving and indescriptible for like clouds or water or foliage of leaves or hair for that matter, try to see it as a way to represent it. You're not gonna copy it and mimic it. You're gonna represent the feeling of the hair. So if you're painting beard or hair, what I suggest is that you kind of feel how the texture feels. Okay, so it's soft, it's kind of gets lost. You cannot even follow with your eye one hair strand because it's gonna get lost in between the other ones. So see it as a mass. Make sure you realize that the edges of it, the contour, the border, the limits of it, it's soft because it's kind of it's not defined. So what you have to do is keep it softer than the other things, and that would already give it the sense of hair, because that's the quality of it in nature. Also, don't follow it going down or out from the physicality of it. Feel it as it belonging to a mass. So around the hair, I don't have hair here, but around the head, it will be wrapping around the top part of the head, the side, so it's catching light. And don't think too literal about it. Just look at it and feel how it's softer than the other materials, and also it has a different shininess to it. Actually, the trick to become a better painter, or to express yourself better in terms of looking at nature, is observation. Look at it, divide it. Say, okay, I'm gonna look at this mass of hair, whatever, my beard or something else, and see how the range is. So look at the darkest part of it and look at the lightest part of it, and then compare it to other things around it in the picture or on site, and see if how it relates. Maybe the darkest part of hair is lighter than the darkest part outside of it, and maybe there is a transition that is cooler between that dark mass and the light mass. So as soon as you start realizing that it's not about tricks and it's more about observation, then with a little bit of control of the tools, you can start putting that into practice. So a lot of observation. Look at the light source, how the light source is hitting it, and how it, as soon as it starts getting dark, transitioning, what is warmer, what is cooler, and try it. Practice is everything, okay? You cannot just understand these things and put it into perfection immediately. You have to take your time and observe and fail and look at it. But that's the whole purpose of art, is discovering it. Nobody knows any absolute answers in the realm of art. It's all about discovering and having that communication with yourself. Because we always talk about communicating art to other people, but communicating art to yourself is the most important. Actually, it has to be happening before anybody can connect to it. And the way you connect to your art is by trying to be clear with your technique. So definitely you have to understand technique to be able to express it clearly. Also, honesty. You have to be kind of deciding kind of to get emotionally naked, pretty much, and also to realize that you're an individual with a past that is particular just to yourself. So you don't have to copy. I mean, I copy the masters, but I understand that my goal is not to copy what they expressed, but it's just to copy what could be useful from them to me. And that's the idea of copying. But definitely the individuality of yourself. Sometimes we are ashamed, of ourselves for several reasons. Like, oh, I didn't have the opportunity to do this, or my hand is a little shaky, or I don't have the patience to do this. All that is good. Anything that is you is the power that you have as an artist. Don't try to think, oh, now smooth painting is in fashion, let me learn how to do that, or realistic paintings or abstract. Anything that you do because other people influence your art, that should be eliminated. You should try to think of the singing in the shower idea. When you're singing in the shower, you don't care who's listening. Most likely nobody's listening, and you're expressing yourself with a feeling and emotion that you maybe capture from the singer, or that you're feeling at that moment from something that is happening to you, and you're just going at it. Well, that is the idea of an artist. That is the idea. Now, if you're a great draftsman and you learn how to sing technically beautiful, then those emotions in the shower will sound amazing, and people will go and line up and sit down to listen to a person that could do that. So take the shower, put a theater, give technique, and that's amazing art. So if you're thinking of a painter like that, and you're saying, oh, what will people think of this? It's looking distorted. don't worry about that. Make sure that you are communicating to yourself what the distortion is or what the clarity is. So, that was a short story long. What is my opinion on the banana at the Art Basel? Whatever, that's just a fun game, you know. I don't have much of an opinion on it because I'm just an expectation. I just look at that situation. That's not my genre of art. I do understand that art is a lot of calling, attention calling, and we have taken that to an extreme. Before we had a standard, and then from that standard, the artist would add to it. And then that addition from the individual is what made art great. So art will be popular. Everybody had to learn the minimum amount of technique that there was a standard to reach to say, okay, you are already a great draftsman. And after you master that, then you can add your own personal touch to it. And that's the goal. That's the idea. I mean, that's what every other artist does. That's what musicians do. That's what, you know, in a more strict, I mean, you can go to, like, from architecture, which is mainly stuff that you learn, and then you add your own touch to it. Or you can get poetry on the far end of that, where the grammar was pretty much the same as everybody knows, but you put a lot of yourself into that poetry. So art now, visual art, has become exaggerated because of that. We have taken away the craftsmanship and we have put all the poetry and the feelings into it. And sometimes we get lost in the glamour, and we want we kind of get lost in this idea of big success, bright stuff, you know, and that can damage your art, because I think as individuals, I mean, I don't know, but that's hard to talk. I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to get in touch in that kind of field because I'm not part of it. So I don't want to think about it even. So enough with the banana. I eat bananas every day. That's all I know about bananas. Okay. Oh, someone from Florence. Hello, I hope everybody in Florence is safe. I had to cancel my workshop that I was going to have actually this week in Florence, and was canceled because of this issue. So, please stay safe in Italy. My wife's family is from Italy. We're in touch with them, but some hard times to deal with. All right, some more questions here. What else is going to be on my website? Okay, so during the summer, I painted that portrait that is there now. And what I did was I divided the portraiture into the drawing stage, the underpainting stage, the first painting stage, and second painting. So pretty much 4 stages. And I decided to just focus in one stage at a time. So if you don't have enough money, or you don't want to see the whole thing, you don't have to. You just select individual pieces. So far, people that have gotten one have gotten more, because I guess they saw the value that I'm giving in those videos. But for the future, I'm just going to think of useful things to not repeat. Maybe I can think of drawing, and maybe I can think of different aspects of drawing. Either it could be construct and how to think of structure and drawing and get good precision. Also, I can focus on how the rendering goes of drawing, and the tools to make that rendering really smooth and, you know, and understandable. Let me put this on silence because they're distracting me. I forgot to do that. So basically, yeah, I'll come up with different ideas and develop them. So that's what I'm thinking of. Hopefully it keeps growing and to different genres. as I learn them. And the good thing about the website is that I get to study it first, because I don't want to share something that for me is not interesting. For me, I want to learn it, feel it, and then I share it to communicate that passion too. And that will force me, like one of the reasons I'm doing vlogs, for instance, weekly for 3 years for free, was that it would force myself to study the subject. It will force myself to sit down 1 or 2 times a week and really focus on something that I wanted to share with you guys. And that keeps me organized too, instead of taking that time to go socialize or to waste it somewhere else. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV at home for that same reason. I don't want to have even the temptation to sit down and flip through channels. And so I just force myself to do something that I can help myself and help others develop their art. How do I get the edges so soft in portraits and with a background? Okay, edges is extremely important, because since there are no edges in real life, okay, so let's say I have this, and you're seeing the boundary of the edge of the hand, okay? If you really observe it, this is pretty much a curve. It's curving. Down here is curving a little bit more round. Maybe here is sharper because it's a sharper turn. And when we paint, we tend to just not deal with the edge anymore. Let's say we just draw this line, right? We draw the outline of the hand. Now your mind is thinking of this as flat, and this is ending, and the rest beginning. Don't think like that. Think that you're going around. So paint the edge as much as you paint the inside of the form. And sometimes we get lazy with the edge. It's done. There's a division. What else? Do anything else. Don't think like that. Think of the inside of the thing turning so the perspective goes like that, even if it's a little bit of the space, and it goes behind it. So, and sometimes in the back there is a similar value, and that's the moment to make it lost and to lose that edge. So work around the edges. Basically, get a brush that is smaller and paint the edges. Make it soft. It's harder because then you get some color from the background, messing up what you painted within the edge that you're trying to develop. That's what it is. It's problem solving. There is no trick about it. Just get more paint and try to paint around it. Paint the edge, do zigzags. Normally what we do is put wet paint on one side, wet paint on the other side, and kind of zigzag it a little bit back and forth. And that creates a nice organic edge, okay? I'm reading here through comments out of okay, so this is an interesting question. Talk about the difference between the academies and the universities and the art that they teach. Because a lot of people are feeling pretty bored in the universities nowadays, because they don't teach technique mainly. They teach you to, like kind of bring out the passion and think and the concepts and emotions and all that. Because, like I said before, those are the important aspects of art. Technique before was important, but it was important because it was the bridge to communicate to people, and it was the bridge to honor our understanding of nature in a way that nobody would expect. Okay, and what happened was that I believe that the academies now are doing a good job in terms of the force they're bringing about to rescue the technique. Okay, but we cannot fall into believing that either they're 100% right in what they're teaching, or believing that is the only focus, and once you graduate and learn how to do a painting of something realistic, kind of like the task is complete. It's not like that at all. Just like if you finish your degree from university and get a BFA, now you're a graduate painter. What do you do with that? Like, how are you going to sell your things? So make sure that you understand both worlds. And online too, there is a lot of information about technical stuff but here's my concern. The academies now are putting a lot of emphasis in the size method, and they're putting also a lot of emphasis sometimes in structure and drawing. But we have to think that all that is a little bit undeveloped. We are trying to rediscover this kind of relationship between the artist and nature and what it means. Because, okay, this is the way I think about it. Our phones is, in a way, a painting. This is art. So whoever created the phone, its shape, and the technological aspect of it is almost creating the platform for everybody to feel that they are artists. Okay, with the phone you can take a shot of something you like, a sunset, something important to you. That's almost the task of an artist. And also through the phone you're looking at a flat image that has nothing the other side, but it gets you to imagine things. The phone gets you to look into it, connect with people, and in a way that's similar to going in the past in a church, and that is the setting for where the art was hanging, let's say, or a house or a museum or a palace, So there will be the people that created the environment, and then the art that will be hanging inside for the specific story that they want to tell or the type of communication they want to create, okay? And if you think about it like that, this became the platform. Now we're doing art for this, to communicate with all of you. Right now you're looking at me in a screen. I'm part of a frame, I'm part of a painting. And all that is part of the art. Now we want to go back and rescue an old art, an old way of communication, which is getting, very archaic tools, basic colors, brush, and paint. But we have to think about it differently. We have to think about it in combination with the phone, with the new galleries, with the new mindset. So I believe universities are teaching the aspect of the concept, the aspect of what is it about you that you need to express about our time. What is it about our time that needs to be updated? Or what is it about our time that needs to be reinforced? And also that sometimes is absent in the academies, because the academies are not thinking about that. The academies are thinking about, wait, go back a second and learn how to hold the pencil. And I think that combination is nice. At least for me it was, because I did 4 years of college towards my BFA. Didn't like the way it was going, so I just got out and went to study at the academy. And also didn't like the way it was going at the end and left and studied in museums. So as long as you keep yourself aware and looking and changing, and don't take anything too hard like that, and just look around and express yourself, I think that's fine. History of art is also good to study, but be careful where you study it from, because history is just a story of where we come from. And sometimes people edit the history without knowing, according to the influence of our time and what they think is important to tell to our generation. So be careful. Try to look at history as if it was you living in it. So you say, I don't know, if I was in a cave and I'm a caveman, and then you look at pictures of the caveman and you try to figure it out. It's impossible, because the mindset of that time was different. But at least you can get to this point. You can say, okay, someone is using the wall as a presentation area to create an image that would inspire others to visualize a different world. So you're in the cave, maybe with some tools, maybe with some stuff around, that's a reality. Another reality is the image on the wall that is creating the image in your mind of hunting, or how our hands are important as tools to mold things. So you can see the communication between the artist inspiring the viewer to visualize and imagine other things in turn. So it's a whole communication. And as soon as humans created gods, we started telling the story of these gods so that people can imagine all these gods, and in turn behave in a certain way and fit it. So it's always a circle. The thing with us today is that we became so individualized, everybody became so self-sufficient, that we forgot that unity of language. So no more we need to communicate in terms of a visual language that connects to us. And I think that's what we are rescuing as artists too. How do we update it? Are we gonna be this cold that the only thing we have as art is this stuff? Of course not. So just think about it like that, and look at history as if you were there, what would happen? Look at the Greeks exploring with pleasure, exploring with the beauty of the gods and the strength of the god, and how that reflected in their art. And as soon as the Christians revolutionize the whole idea of no, just go introspective, be humble, look at your neighbor and be careful with your pleasures, they might be bad for you, and all this stuff created a more strict, or at least a distancing yourself from all these ideas, and create just the story of our God in a way. But then the Renaissance changed that and started bringing pleasure with the sexy women and the strength of the guys and the colors, and all that was more exotic. And from there, we changed the trajectory of art. So when you look at history, don't specifically look at what the guy is telling you, just look at the whole thing and kind of figure it out from your point of view and how you actually live your life. And I think it'll be more effective like that. Okay, so someone is asking me, so many artists feel they should be connecting on the latest politics and problems of the world. Can we just be reflecting on our world without being judged? You know what? I think with the problem with being narrators of politics or commenting on that outside world is that we have to be careful, because I believe that was sold to us. Unless you're a politician that is an artist too, maybe yes. But if you're just an artist, just because you have your phone telling you every day, every minute, every time you open it, something about the outside world and a problem out there, and you as an artist, you feel that you need to express something, and as you need to express this thing, and it's everywhere in front of you, you have it in the screen of your computer, you have it on TV, and you have it in your phone, then you become part of that too, and you want to get involved with your opinion from your perspective. I think that's a mistake. I think we have to understand that the real world we live in is behind the phone, is behind the screen, is what really goes in our lives. And it will be nice, at least I do that, to separate what is trying to influence me and what is not useful for me to be influenced by that. Of course, everything influences us because we're just sponges, but sometimes it's too much. And if it doesn't have a real meaning, I don't think we should go there, because then we're gonna become illustrators of someone else's ideas and proposals and intimidation and whatever. So you don't want to be a soldier for something you don't even understand that well. What you can come to is to understand your world and express it in a way that is you saying the news, is your latest news of your communication with yourself in art. I don't know what to say about that. It's very easy to fall into the trap of narrating what you're feeling, that everybody's feeling. But remember, art cannot be popular in the sense of you painting what everybody's talking about. You should be adding your own story to what everybody's talking about in a different way. So they get a nice vacation from the noise out there. It would be nice to see you live painting. Yes, I do that. You can go to my website, and if you get one of my videos from CesarSantos.com, you will see me live painting. I will talk about it. I'll prepare the materials. I will tell you how everything works, and I will paint, and you'll see me picking up paint and applying it on the canvas. Now, if I would be doing that today, I don't know, I haven't been even painted in like 3 days. I'm just drawing and doing other things. I can't believe you told my wife to turn. No, I just suggested to my wife that she should put her headphones on so I don't get distracted. Okay, let me go to a different place here to just get some questions from somewhere else. Yeah, a lot of staying safe, all good. Oh, saludos a Colombia también. Sorry guys, I'm looking through all this stuff to see something that is inspiring, can talk about stuff. Thank you for all the compliments. Man. Oh, this is funny. How was meeting at Nedroom? I take workshops sometimes. I took a workshop with Dan Thompson and also with Ann Nedroom, and also took a couple of workshops from sculptors, because I'm always looking to see in our time who has stuff that I can learn from, that I can take advantage of as we are alive, and not just rely on, you know, history and kind of studying from the masters. That is pretty much you figuring it out by yourself. And in the case of Ann Nedroom, he was the first realist artist I heard about when I was in the beginning of college. Someone came up to me, I think it was a teacher, and said, you should study this guy, look at this guy's work. And I'm like, wow, he's alive? That's crazy. But anyways, the opportunity came, I took his workshop. Ann Nedroom has such an energy. As soon as he comes in the room, he just, you know, calls the attention like that. And two things, well, I don't know if it's two things. I want to just say the things that I learned from him mainly was how mathematical art is. And I didn't think of it like that before, as a mathematical equation that you're trying to solve, because we think of art as opposite to science sometimes. And he made me realize that when we're putting a brushstroke, it has to have a meaning within the space of the picture. It's not just filling in a blank with this color that you're thinking, or kind of just going around like that. It's pretty much thinking of everything as a mathematical equation. What is balancing this brushstroke here? What is adding, if I add this here, how is that tension working? What goes in the middle? If something is 3D, think about the structure of it and the perspective of it. And he says that if you know, he kind of, well, I don't know how he said it exactly, because it was kind of an abstract idea, but I saw him do it. I mean, I was drawing, and he looked at my face, and he's like, oh, you're getting some math problem there wrong. And he got my pencil and fixed it up in a second, and I was like, wow, that was impressive. So I learned that, and I also learned the value of preparing your own ground. Don't buy just a canvas as you find it and paint on it, like if you just have to take care of all the things. Remember, art starts with everything. As soon as you start moving, that your art began. Okay, if you're gonna take a picture, make sure the lighting is perfect, make sure the setting, make sure what you need is, you know, clear. If you're doing it from live, make sure what you're observing, you have a connection to it. If you go to the store and get a canvas, make sure you prepare a good base that he prepares it with calcium carbonate and linseed oil. And with a spatula, with a palette knife like that, something flat, you can spread it around the canvas to not have brush strokes for no reason, of course, but you can create a nice organic surface, and you don't have to paint on this kind of square and factory-made canvas. And sometimes I did that. Sometimes I was lazy and just did that. But I realized how if the surface is already nice, then everything you put on it will be even adding to the whole thing, okay? Do I still box, and do I think my boxing discipline helped me with as an artist? Yes, I guess you're a boxer too. Well, I kind of keep myself exercising, and something I did for many years was boxing. So when I exercise, I do what I know, which is boxing, and I do hit the bag and go to the gym, hit the weights. For me, it's just a kind of like a balance between sitting down and working, so passive in front of my canvas. But it's nothing about that. Anybody can do it their way. You can do yoga, something that makes you, what I believe is fun is to enjoy it. You have to enjoy your workout. If you go to the gym and you're like, oh, I need to do this. No, become the person that goes there so that your identity is someone that does sports. And that way you are crazy. I mean, you can't wait to put your shoes on and put your things on and go and exercise because it's good for you. So might as well find a way to do it that is fun and not like a homework that you have to do just because everybody tells you to do it, But I do box sometimes, but not fight anymore. I don't do that anymore. I'm not that old, but there's a time for everything. Sorry about the space of silence. That's the awkward part about the live chats, is that I'm looking here thinking of what to kind of focus on and talk about. This is water. I'm not drinking any alcohol at the moment. Okay, so this is an interesting question. Do you think the country an artist lives in will affect his or her work and success? I wouldn't blame. I mean, I was born in Cuba, and I know, and my uncle is a painter there, and I know how he has been through so many things that is just not his fault, because some countries do give a harder time for people to express themselves, and especially communist places like Cuba or something where you cannot just say whatever you think. You're not supposed to, otherwise you can be kind of called that you're against the revolution, and you can become an enemy of the state if you express something that is not convenient for them. But I understand that every country has different limitations. Every country does. So I wouldn't rely on that, because if you have that as an excuse and you say, okay, this is my country, I live in a piece of shit country, and everybody can think about it like that, regardless if you're in the best country, whatever that means. I don't know what that is, because every place I've been has powers, and it also lacks stuff. So I believe everything is within you, within the individual to express. And the beauty of art is that is the tool that you should use to escape whatever limitations the world is giving you. So whatever limitation the country is giving you, as a seed, you have the potential to grow okay? Because you are moving, you're breathing, and as you have that choice, you can fall into the trap of saying, oh, I would like to travel to Italy and learn it like that. Yes, but remember, a lot of people travel to Italy and a lot of people travel to wherever they want, and they still don't become effective with their art. I believe to be effective with your art is all about introspection. The answer is inside of you. You have to create the routine and create a system of life that supports your creation. Do stuff as soon as you wake up or whenever. Write down everything that you create, if it's positive or negative for your art. And whatever is damaging your art, cut it off. See why you started it to begin with, that practice of maybe going and wasting time somewhere for a long period of time, and say, why am I doing this? And force yourself to restart a new system that puts you into the studio. Once you're already used to and have time set apart to create art, forget about the social expectations. Go inside and say, why do I want to paint? What is it? Do I get a fixation with some subject or some tools or some imagery, some dreams? Look at your dreams, because that's your subconscious, that's your maximum artistic expression, if you can think of it like that, because dreams happen to us. And art, I believe, happens to us also. We don't happen to dreams. We don't happen to our art. In part, yes, because part of your awakened moments, you're conscious, so you're thinking, how do I get this tool and how do I get these colors and put them together? But once that is set, then you have to say, okay, now what can happen to me? And I believe in any country, you have the ability to express that. And if you're expressing that correctly, other people will connect to it, because you're not unique. I mean, you're unique, but you are connected to everybody. You have an environment. And if you connect to yourself and you do something that matters to you, other people will feel the same. Don't do things for the masses. Do things for only you. And then the people will communicate through that and grow it from there. Actually, there are good artists from anywhere in the world, so that is proof that it doesn't matter where you live as much. Someone is asking if my childhood in Cuba inspired some of my paintings. Maybe it has to be, because childhood is how you start drawing, is where you get the nutrients and you get your perspective, how your parents treated you, how you dealt with your friends, and all that, of course, has to do with my results and my life now. But I don't think I sit down and say, oh, I'm gonna think of this childhood part and express it from Cuba. I kind of have a mind that I'm in this country right now, this is my life, and I don't want to go back to somewhere where I escaped and try to rescue that. For me, it's more like present and future, and the past is already memory. All right, guys, probably gonna cut this soon. It's been fun talking about art. Maybe I stay here for a little bit longer. I don't know. We're all like just quarantined. It's sad, but you have to kind of, realize that every day in the world is a hard moment for some people, and not so much for others. And in this moment, everybody's kind of stressed out because we're, kind of social animals. So whatever happens to a few gets spread easily, and we have to be responsible. But I don't think you should change your positive state of mind for the news. Definitely not. Okay, so how to find your own palette for portraits, like you, Rembrandt, Bouguereau, and etc. Okay, so something interesting about the palette, and maybe my next video for my website will be getting the palette, the flesh palette of the classical, kind of like get a general palette for the flesh that masters used, and talk about the color theory and how to make flesh look alive, because you don't want it to look like a mannequin where everything is kind of beigey and getting dark, and you don't want it to look also all over the place that is expressionistic and it doesn't feel natural. To get that subtlety that most of the masters got, is very difficult. But what I would say about the flesh color and the flesh palette is to select the colors that you want to select and focus on discovering them, okay? It's easy to think, oh, these colors are not enough, there must be some other color I need to add to this. And that's one of the reasons I started working with the limited palette. The limited palette is set, it's just white, yellow, red, and black. And you have to kind of solve every problem with those colors. If you learn how to maximize your results with those limited palette colors, you will be able to then add any color and control it better. But the idea is, I think, is to have one yellow, one red, because the moment you have two yellows, where are you going to put one or the other? If you see something brighter, maybe it's not a good idea to get the brighter yellow and put it, because of it changes the rhythm of the unity that all the colors are supposed to be kind of reacting. Like in life, in nature, when you look out, you have like a filter in front of you and everything is unified, okay? Even different shades of greens or different shades, everything is like with one filter. And if you start applying the idea of variety to the palette and you add so many colors, you can lose control. So I believe that you should get whatever palette you like. Some people have different temperaments, so it's unjust. It's not fair for me to select colors and advise it and give it to you guys. Maybe some of you are learning and you're like, okay, I take whatever you give me. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that you understand that you as an individual have tendencies. I can express what I use and then you can select. But select any palette and explore it. Test it. Test just the white and the yellow. See what ranges it gives you. Just the white and the red. How many reds can you get there with pinks? And then play around with all these combinations. And then look at something and say, let me try to get that feeling. And nothing is easy. You have to spend time developing this color mixtures and seeing the result. And that's how you learn through life. What are the pros and cons of painting horizontally versus vertically? And that's interesting. Well, no pros and cons. Again, it's up to you. Just realize, if you're painting something that is long and narrow, tall, and narrow, then make sure that your image is something that you want to give that sense of standing, so, this sense of presence. Now, if you do a longer one, it's more calm, it's more like laying down. So if it depends on what you want to paint. Sometimes we can do that contradiction and paint something that should have been resting, and then we paint it high and up there. But there are no rules, just principles. Do you ever feel bad about drawing or painting? Do you stop or do you work yourself through and make it finish? Yeah, that's an interesting question, because sometimes we do abandon things before we get to really exploit the power it has. And sometimes we give up because our minds are telling us, all this noise. No, this is not good, or you chose the wrong subject, or this is getting nowhere. And there is a moment that if it's too much, yes, stop it. But I learned in school and in life, I learned that it's better to solve a problem once you get into it. Okay? You were the one deciding to start that drawing or that painting. So might as well enjoy it, but be responsible with it. say, I'm gonna try to solve the problem however long it takes me to solve it. Because the moment you find and taste the finished result that you envision, or the best possible result that you can get at that time, that's when you explore your maximum capacity for punishment, because you put up with a lot of the punishment to get to that point. And also, you say, okay, next time you can go through that and make it a little bit better. And that's the point of a lot of practices. But the practice has to be intelligent. You have to try to be perfectionist at the beginning, because that's how you can. It's like when you're working out. You don't work out. You kind of test your machine, right? Like if you're working out and you put 10 pounds and it's too easy, you're like, okay, let me add more, let me add more. But if you do 10 of 100 and you're like, wow, I did that. If you did do that for a whole week, I'm pretty sure once you rest and come back, you'll be able to do more. And that's how muscles work, and that's how you learn from reading books. First, you don't understand it. The second pass, you do. So since art is very personal, you have to do that with yourself. You have to say, okay, I'm going to try to reach this moment and solve this problem that I got into. And if you don't have the answers, now this is good, because now you have something to live for. Now you have to look for those answers and do it again and test it in different ways. And that's the whole way of life as an artist. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Again, stay safe. I wanted to give this all of you a little bit of a distraction from all the talk of the same random, talk about the coronavirus. Stay safe and paint. Stay home. Do some drawing. Maybe you can go outside. Keep some distance, but explore the world. Art is just that relationship between you and your life, and communicating with your senses. And if you do that successfully with yourself, others will feel it and will be part of your journey as well. So enjoy it. Take care. Bye.